Hi everyone, it's that time of the month again when we're playing along with Tim Holtz's 12 tags of 2015. For June, I'm calling mine Caffeine High. So again, we're starting off with a Ranger number 8 tag, but instead of using the tags that I've got, I'm going to go real cheap and make my own out of craft card. And while I've got the trimmer out, I thought I might as well use the same piece of card and make 3 in one go. As always with the 12 tags of 2015, we always try to make our tags slightly different to Tim's. Tim's used Distress Stain on his tag base to get that mottled effect. I'm using Distress Paint with a little bit of water and one of those lovely cheap sponges that I got from a dollar store, well, a pound store in the UK. The point of the tag this month is to look at the different effects that you want to achieve and think of the best way to achieve it. There may be 10 or 15 different ways to achieve the same effect. It's just you choose the one which best fits your situation at that point in time. For me, I don't own any of the distress stains, I've only got the paint, so that's what I have to use. So again, I'm using distress paint. This is the peeled paint and I'll be using the mowed lawn again in a little bit. Tim used a stencil to achieve his plaid effect background. I'm using the edge of an offcut of the craft card. And as you can see, I'm just randomly putting strips of the green paint just up and down, horizontal and vertically across the tag, just to create like a tartan kind of effect. So here's the mowed lawn. I'm going to do exactly the same thing again, this time just using a different colour shade of the green. And there you go, as you can see, we've both created a plaid effect in 2 different ways. Okay, I'm just checking to see what Tim did with his tag, and I'm also just checking sizing for how big I need to make my coffee cup. For Tim's tag, he used a Biggs Sizzix die. I'm just cutting mine out by eye. And I'm just making some minor adjustments here just to make it look just that little bit better and to fit more on the front of my tag. And here you can see me measuring out the 2 little pieces that I need to create to make the lid of my coffee cup. I'm not measuring anything, I'm just doing everything by eye. Okay, so here you can see me using a edge scruffer, and all I'm going to do is just go around the edges of my tag just to give it some distressed effect. Now here I'm just laying everything out on the tag just to make sure everything's going to fit the way I want it to. And I'm using a piece of scrap corrugated card that I'm going to put across the front of the cup. Again, I'm using the peeled paint to cover up the disc of craft card that I've punched out with that Stampin' Up circle punch. This is only an inch circle punch, so it's not too big. I'm just dabbing it off with a paper tissue because I don't want it to be too wet, and it's just soaking straight into the craft card anyway. So pretty much it dries almost instantaneously. So using the, I think it's vintage photo that I've used here, I'm just going to go around all of the edges and adding a little bit of distress, which also gives it a bit of depth and a bit of shading all the way around. Actually, I'm using frayed burlap, not vintage photo, I've just remembered. I've often wondered why outlining or going around the edges with a distress colour, a darker colour, always makes it look better. I don't know why, I don't know what it is, but it just does. It just seems to work and it pulls everything together. Okay, so here you can see me just looking at bits of scrap burlap that I've got in from my stash, just looking to see if there's a piece that would fit, which there was, and I'm now going to cover the burlap with frayed burlap colour. Kind of ironic really, isn't it? Okay, so now I've got all my pieces which have been outlined, they've all had the distress colour added to them. I'm now going to start laying it out to make sure that everything's going to fit the way that I want it to and that it's not too big or too small. So I'm happy that it all fits, so now I can go ahead and start adding all the pieces of my tag, all the elements of my tag together onto the tag front. Now I'm using the heavy gel medium again here for the burlap because it does sink into the holes in the burlap and it does hold it a lot better, and I thought, well, while it was out I may as well just use it for everything else. I'm just too lazy to get the other glue out. I think of all the tags that we've done so far this year for the challenge, the 12 tags of 2015, this is my least favourite. I just didn't think that it was all that involved, it wasn't all that inspiring. To be honest, I just thought it was a bit of a lazy cop-out, but hey ho, we play every month, so this is my attempt at doing it for this month. Now, before I get lots of angry comments all standing up and defending Tim Holtz, please don't. I think Tim's a very, very talented guy. It's just I just didn't think that this tag, or the tag that he did, and the challenge that he set us, was all that involved. It's not. It's usually a bit more complicated than this. This one just seemed fairly straightforward. Well, it did for me anyway. And yes, in the UK we call that backpedaling. So, getting back on track, you can see that I'm cutting out a little banner flag or a little fishtail banner. Now, I don't have any of the hashtag stamps that Tim used on his, so I just printed some hashtags of my own out on craft card and just printed them and cut them out with a pair of scissors. This is a piece of the linen ribbon, which I didn't realise that I had, so I'm using this, seeing as Tim used some on his. And I'm just colouring it with the frayed burlap just to make it blend in, and then I'm just going to thread it through, and you can see I have a clasp and a little dog tag type thing, like almost like one of those Muse tokens, and I'm just adding that to the ribbon before I tie it all up. The chain is a little bit too long for me, so what I end up doing is adding a little glue dot just to the back of the dog tag and actually sticking it in place so it doesn't waggle around too much. And then out of my stash I found a little brown button that looked just like a coffee bean, so I'm just going to stick that onto the front. And that white goo you can see sticking out the bottom is just the heavy gel medium. It will disappear, it will dry completely clear, so I'm not too worried about it poking out the bottom. And that's it for June's tag. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed already, you can do so by clicking the button at the end of the video. So thanks for watching, and I hope you'll join me again real soon for my next project.